Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Doing all right. So, my name is Natalie. As you know, I'm a dietetic student at Illinois State, and we're going to do nutrition counseling today for one of my projects. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome to nutrition counseling. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into what brings you here today. I know you received some paperwork before we met, and I see that you filled out the nutrition concern form. So, why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about why you're here today?
Okay, so first of all, being in college myself, it's really hard to get the right, vegetables and fruit intake. It's just not as cheap.
Right.
And then also, so doing that, I eat a lot of fast food. Wanting to know if there's better options to eat fast, cheaply, and then also the exercise is a big factor, having class and trying to balance.
Fit it in. Okay, yeah. So what it sounds like to me is that you're having some issues getting those veggies and fruits in your diet every day, which I personally struggle with that as well. So it's not easy, but we can figure something out. And then, so it also sounded like when you can't get what you want to eat, you just go to a fast food, drive-through real quick. Okay, so we can talk about some possible healthy options with that. And then exercise. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that? Are you currently active? Or?
Yes, so I try to exercise at least 5 times a week, but
okay, wow.
I also I don't go that long when I do go, so I didn't know if it was better to just go maybe 3 days and go for a longer period of time.
Yeah, but I think, okay, we could look at that a little bit more. That might just depend on your schedule and what you're comfortable with. Right. So with this information, what I think we're going to do is just look at these concerns a little bit more in depth separately. And then I'm going to do a 24-hour food recall on you. It's pretty much just a conversation about what you ate the past day, just to give me some ideas about what you typically eat in a day. And then we're going to go over your lifestyle a little bit and see if your ability to make some small changes that we talk about is even possible. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and start with the 24-hour recall. That's all right with you. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and tell me what was the first thing you ate yesterday?
Cinnamon rolls.
Awesome, that sounds good. How big would you say they are? 3-4 inches, maybe? Okay. And you said you had 2? Perfect. 3-4 inch. Did you have icing? Do you have icing with this? Okay. How much icing did you have?
Not very much.
Like a tablespoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over both.
Okay.
And I had water with that.
Water? Okay. How much? Like a small glass? 8 ounces?
I had a whole water bottle.
A water bottle? Okay. Sounds good. So what time of day did you consume this?
That was about, I would say 9:45.
Okay. And is that something you would typically eat for your breakfast, or was it just a special occasion kind of thing?
Right, Sunday.
I know the Thanksgiving holiday was this past week, so I know we had a lot of leftovers going on. Okay, so what did you have after that?
For lunch, I had a cheeseburger with pepper jack cheese.
Okay.
And I had potatoes with that ketchup.
Okay, potatoes. How are your potatoes cooked?
On a stove, on a skillet.
Okay. So they were mashed potatoes?
No, they were scalloped.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And then would you say a cup of those, 2 cups?
Yeah, a cup.
A cup's roughly the size of a fist. Okay. So 1 cup of those.
Probably a tablespoon of ketchup.
And you said this was lunch. Yeah. So what time was lunch at?
12:30.
12:30? Okay. Did you have anything to drink with that meal?
Water.
Same thing, just in the water bottle size? Okay, perfect. How about after that?
I had a peanut butter and jelly.
Classic.
Yep.
Did you have a full sandwich or half a sandwich?
I had a full sandwich.
Okay. What kind of bread did you use?
White.
Right. All right. Anything to drink with that?
No. Oh, I had a LaCroix.
Nice. Do you like those?
Yes.
I haven't tried them personally.
Blackberry cucumber.
Blackberry cucumber? Okay, I might have to try that. Okay, so what time did you eat that meal?
That was probably around 5.
5? Okay. So you consider that a dinner?
Yeah. Then I had a snack after that.
Okay, what time was the snack at?
9.
And what was the snack?
Chips and salsa.
How many chips would you say you had?
Probably a cup.
Okay. 1 cup? Alright, perfect. Then anything to drink before you went to bed, or?
Just water.
Just water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. So would you say this is typically like what you eat, or same thing as the breakfast?
Yeah,
just because you were at home? Or?
Usually I have a smaller breakfast, but in a bigger dinner.
Okay.
I think I was just so full from the day, I just had peanut butter and jelly.
Okay, sounds good. So, so were you at home this past week, or
Yes.
Okay, when you had this meal, you were
Yes.
at home. Okay, so
It was prepared by my mom.
Okay,
So
usually you're the one preparing your own meals, like at school.
Right.
Okay, so when you go to the store, like when you're purchasing your own food, what do you usually buy?
I always get bread, usually wheat bread.
Wheat bread.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
I also get chicken and pizza.
Okay.
I try to get peppers and mushrooms, but then I never really end up fixing them.
Yeah. Are you struggling to like figure out how to fix them?
Yeah,
Or, like what
well,
kind of meals? to
It's
put
also,
on?
I buy them, but then when I go to fix them, I have taken too long and they usually go bad by that point.
Okay. Yeah.
And mac and cheese is another thing I eat a lot.
My favorite is Panera mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you get any fruit or like milk or
No, I try to drink skim milk.
skim milk?
Yeah.
Because I saw on your client questionnaire that you filled out that milk or just dairy products kind of bother you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So I can see how with the top 24-hour recall that you gave me, how the vegetable and fruit intake can kind of be hard, especially when you're at home. I know my parents don't really buy the kinds of foods that I really want to be eating either when I'm at home. But it looks like at school you're making a pretty good effort to purchase the right things or healthier options. But you're also, getting the goods in there too. So, so why don't we go ahead and take a closer look at the first one, the vegetable and fruit intake.
Okay.
So I have this handout for you, and this is just some ways that you can incorporate like those peppers or mushrooms that you use into easy meals, pretty much. So like with the pizza thing, this one would be really good. It says top pizza with broccoli, spinach, green peppers, or etc. So when you buy pizza at the store, what kind of pizza do you buy?
Just Jack's cheese pizza.
Okay. So you could even add to that before you put it in the oven. You could add those green peppers and those mushrooms on top.
So with broccoli, is it better to not buy frozen broccoli and just cut it up?
Like a steamable type?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It's just a different preparation method.
Okay.
So if you were going, like for instance, if you were going to top the pizza with like extra vegetables, I would probably buy fresh ones.
Right.
But if you were just going to use broccoli, or I know they do like cauliflower steamable bags too, that would probably be like more of a side dish. But you could very well, fix that, put it on top of the pizza and cook it. It might just be a little more done. So, do you think that would be something that...
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Sweet. So that's good. So this is one thing that I always try to do. The first one is fill half your plate with fruits and vegetables. It's really, really easy to, maximize on the carbs and the meat, and those are the bulk things that take up the plate. So just when you're looking at, I don't know, whatever size plate you use, like half of the plate, like one section of that half should be fruit, and then one section of the half should be vegetables. And that's just an easy way, even if you're looking at your plate and you make that chicken, say, that you buy, or mac and cheese or whatever else you buy, just visualize it before you start eating it. And then, you can try and get those veggies in at every meal. So let's see, what else do we have here? Do you have smoothies often?
No, not usually.
Yeah. Okay. So this one might be good, because you had a peanut butter and jelly when you went home. So if you make like a sandwich at school or you're at home or something, I know on my sandwiches I put mayo with like turkey or chicken, lettuce, all those types of foods. You could do hummus or like a mashed avocado instead of mayo, because those offer some healthier fat alternatives. And then let's see. So we already talked about the steamable vegetables a little bit. Do you tend to do that more?
Yes.
I know they're really affordable.
Yeah, it's easier too.
Yeah, so that's a good way too. And I think roughly a bag has about 2 to 2.5 cups in it. So that would be a good way to get those in a meal. Just pop it in the microwave real quick and add it into whatever you're eating. Let's see. So okay, so tell me a little bit about your fruit intake. Do you eat a lot of fruits?
If I eat fruit, it's usually blueberries or bananas.
Okay.
I don't really enjoy apples all that much. I do like fruit. It's not that I don't like fruit. It's just that I never get around to actually eating it.
Okay, that sounds good. So these might work for that then. So it says treat yourself to a fruit dessert by combining like a banana with frozen yogurt or something. That's actually a really good option. I do that personally. And then also a good way to get items in your diet is just to wake up and immediately have it. So whatever you eat for breakfast that day, maybe have, that banana with it, or have half a cup of blueberries or whatever you're feeling that day. But just getting it up and getting it in your system right in the morning could help you a lot with the fruit side. So do you have any questions about any of these specifically? These are just options, we can switch them around and change them to whatever would work best for your lifestyle.
So with the drinking, the smoothies, is that just another way to have an intake of fruit? Yeah. It's not like better than any other.
No, it's not necessarily better. There are many different ways to make smoothies too. So since milk bothers you, a lot of people just use water. Okay. Or they could use like a milk alternative. No, but you would be getting the same kinds of vegetables and fruits, just in a different form. If you're sick of just eating like a banana as a banana, it would be a good way to.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and also this does a really good job of mentioning this. You can put spinach in smoothies as well, which you can't even taste it really when you put them in there, and you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals from that spinach being in the smoothie. So why don't you hold on to this, and if you have any questions as we continue to go through, just stop me and ask. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do next is we're going to talk about, we already kind of touched on, making some small changes, but I want you to take a look at this graphic for me right here and kind of try to see where you might fall with your ability to make small changes, like where you're at right now.
I would say I'm probably at an 8.
8? Okay, that's great. Okay, sounds good. So since you're there, we're going to turn here. Okay, so because you say that you're at an 8, that pretty much means that you feel pretty confident and able to make some small changes. Of course, we need to start, slow and just do one thing at a time, because that's realistic. So I feel like most of the things we talked about with this handout were right there with that 8 point on the scale. So again, if you have any questions on that, just let me know, but we can go over that in more detail or just move on from it. That's totally fine. So, How are you feeling on the vegetable and fruit intake per day?
I think just the fact that I know that I should have more intake.
That you're very aware of, like, that you're not having.
Right. It'll help me. And just even this helps a lot too.
That's
just
good.
seeing the different ways of how I can incorporate it into my meals helps a lot.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, then why don't we go ahead and move on to the fast food options. So when you go to these fast food places, what kind of restaurants do you tend to go to?
Usually like McDonald's, and I'll get a quarter pounder.
Okay.
And then Jimmy John's. I usually get a turkey sandwich there.
Okay.
And Papa John's. And usually I get these at late hours of nights.
Okay. So it sounds like you like to have a snack before bed?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said Papa John's as well?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, so let's start with McDonald's.
Okay.
What do you get with the quarter pounder? Do you get a meal?
I usually get a meal. I get that plain,
Okay.
and then I get a meal, and then usually I get a Sprite with it.
Okay.
So I don't usually drink a lot of pop, but if I do go out to eat, I will get.
Yeah, and it's okay to every once in a while, have drinks like that. I know whenever I have a meal that I consider not to be very healthy, I top it off with a soda.
Right.
So that's okay to do, every once in a while. So one change that we might be able to do with this McDonald's, because I never want to start you off by cutting something completely out. That's just not a good way to go about making change. So how would you feel about just, nixing the meal and just getting the sandwich?
I could do that.
And then switching from a Sprite maybe to a diet drink?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So that would be like an option of what you could do if you were like really, really craving your normal meal that you get there. But menus do offer healthier options. Like I know McDonald's has the snack wraps. I don't think they're on their menu anymore, but they still have them. And what you could do with that is just get a grilled chicken snack wrap. That's pretty healthy. It's not a whole lot of calories either. So that would be a good alternative. They do have salads too as well, which their salads are pretty calorie dense, just because they put, breaded chicken in it and all the good stuff. But you could get like a healthier salad dressing.
Right. So I usually get ranch, and I know ranch isn't very.
It has a lot of fat in it, but another option would be like a balsamic vinaigrette.
Okay.
They might even have like low sodium or low fat options. You would just need to ask when you're at the drive-thru. But I know that the salads are pretty large, so you could cut the salad in half even and save half for the next day, and then that's like bang for your buck, 2 meals in one. So I feel like McDonald's, we came up with some good ideas for that one. Okay, so you said you get a turkey sandwich at Jimmy John's?
Yes.
Right.
I usually get it with the bread. I know you can get like the unwich.
Yeah.
Which is just wrapped in lettuce.
Right.
I've had that before, and I don't mind it actually, so maybe that would be an option for me to try instead of just take all that carbs.
Right. So do you eat the full sandwich when you get it? Okay. So one small change that you could make with Jimmy John's would just be eating half the sandwich.
Okay.
And then saving the other half for the next day, or, whenever you have a snack craving, 2 days, whenever. Do you get chips with it?
Occasionally I do. I get salt and vinegar chips.
Okay.
And then I do get Sprites usually with that.
Okay. So I know they make like skinny chips. So if you're like really, really craving chips, a good alternative to the salt and vinegar would be the skinny ones.
Okay.
And then Papa John's, what do you usually get there? Just like
cheese pizza usually.
Hold on a second, sorry. Okay, we're still good. Perfect. So you get a cheese pizza.
Yes.
Okay, how big would you say it is? Like a personal one?
Yeah, usually a small.
Okay.
I don't know what inch that is.
I don't know either. Okay, so small.
And then usually use the garlic dip that they give.
The garlic butter. Okay. So, kind of like what we talked about on the handout with the fruits and vegetables, there's not much you can do with pizza that you like order from a place to make it healthier. But what you could do is like order some vegetables on top, or if you have vegetables here, you could throw them on top of there and at least get some vitamins and minerals in with it. So how often a week do you find yourself going to these places?
Eating out, I probably eat 5 times a week out.
Okay. Okay, so how would you feel about us maybe lowering it down to like 4 times a week? Do you feel like that's a manageable thing you could try?
Definitely.
Okay, so why don't we go to 4
Okay.
times a week? Let's see how you do with that. So yeah, does that cover all the bases pretty much with the fast food
usually.
And the healthier options?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so pretty much anything when you're going to a fast food restaurant, if it's like double breaded, so if you get like a breaded chicken sandwich, that's like double the amount of carbs. So maybe you just opt for like a grilled option for the meat. If you're used to getting like a medium or a large fry, just go down to a small.
Okay.
Just makes, small, just like downsizable changes as you go along with that, and that should and could help a little bit. Okay, so do you feel comfortable with where we're at with that too?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So last one is exercise. You said you're exercising about 5 times a week.
Yeah,
in short increments, right?
Yeah, I'd say about, sometimes they can last 30 minutes. It just depends when I go there and how much I feel like working out.
Okay.
So it changes every time.
And I would say that's relatively normal, just with everything college students have going on a daily basis. It's sometimes hard to fit in that exercise. So just some general guidelines for exercising. It's 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise a week, or 75 minutes of like really vigorous exercise a week, which it sounds like if you're exercising 5 times, you're probably meeting that standard, if not really, really close to that standard. So what kind of exercises do you do when you're at the
So
gym?
usually what I do is I go and I run or walk a mile.
Okay.
And then I'll stretch, and then I'll usually lift weights, legs and arms, and then I'll do an ab workout for like 5 minutes, and then I'll walk to cool down.
Okay.
But I usually use weights. I don't use like body weight.
Okay. So it sounds like you're, getting a pretty general mixture of cardio as well as weights in there too.
Right.
Now, I'm not technically certified to give you any specific instruction on this, but if you're interested in a referral to like a personal trainer, I know ISU has some really good resources for personal trainers through the rec. So do you think you'd be interested in something like that?
Definitely. I've seen that they have classes and stuff.
Yeah, do you ever do the group classes?
I can't say I do. I've been to maybe one the 4 years.
It's always a
I've
nice
been
idea,
here.
but sometimes the scheduling doesn't work out right. Okay, so we will get you that referral then. So you said you were wanting to maybe cut it back to like 3 times a week and then extend the time.
Yeah.
So how, with like what your schedule is, your school schedule, work schedule, whatever you do you feel like that would be manageable, or?
Yeah, I feel like I could do that. I also feel like I could maybe put exercise as more of a priority. I don't know if it's better to do it just 3 times a week longer than 5 times shorter, or what?
There's really no, it's just whatever's going to fit into your schedule. So as long as you are kind of meeting those general guidelines, which it seems like you are, and when I looked at your, weight, height, all that good stuff, nothing was like a red flag. So it seems like whatever you're doing exercise-wise is okay for where you're at right now. So it pretty much just comes down to your schedule. So if you want to do like a 2-hour workout 3 days a week instead of a 45-minute workout, whatever it is, that's totally fine, but that's just up to your schedule. So, like, I know I don't really want to go work out on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're working out 5 days a week, that would include Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just like skip Friday, but take another hour on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. So did you have anything else you wanted to?
Yeah. Well, with the exercise, like my schedule is I try to plan it around, if I go out a certain night, I'm not going to want to wake up and go exercise. But
Right.
then that does bring up like all the alcohol intake.
Right. Okay, so how much would you say you are drinking per week? Or like, I should rephrase that. How many times a week are you going out?
I usually drink about twice a week.
Okay. Yeah. And when you're drinking, how much do you usually consume? I know that's kind of hard to put into perspective.
Yeah. Usually I do like 2 drinks, maybe within 2 hours of each other.
Okay.
Maybe even sooner, maybe an hour. But then I'll do like.
So when you say drink,
yeah. So
what do you mean? Because
like
I know
at the bar, I get cranberry vodkas,
okay.
which I think that's a shot. I think it's 1 shot per drink, and then vodka with it. Usually I get 2 of those in a time span of like 10 to 11:30.
Okay, so an hour and a half.
Yeah, but I'll be drinking before then, and usually I'd probably do the same, but with 1 drink, just a mixed drink.
Okay, sounds good. So you usually go for like the cranberry
Yeah.
Okay. So are you wanting to cut back the amount you drink? I know sometimes in college that's not
right.
the most favorable idea, but or are you just wanting to have some other options?
I think other options would be best.
So less calorie.
Yeah, because I have tried the whole cutting back, and it really hasn't worked out for me. So if I maybe did healthier options and then got to the point of cutting back.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much, let's just start with, do you know what like a standard drink is?
No, not.
Okay, so a standard drink for beer is like 12 ounces. So, like the Coors Light cans, the big tall silver ones, that would be like a 12-ounce drink. So that's 1 drink. So if you have 2 of those, then you would be having your two drinks in it. And then it's 5 ounces of wine, and then 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. So that would be like, like your shot you were talking about at the bars. So that information is only important to keep in mind when kind of think about like how much you're drinking when you're out. But it seems like you want to go towards like more healthy options. So just to have that information in the back of your head, like, okay, how much really is this drink I'm drinking? Because sometimes it might be 3 shots.
Yeah.
And then like a really, really small amount of whatever cranberry or whatever you're topping it off with. So that's just important information to keep in the back of your head. Okay. But if you are consuming beer, I would just go for a lighter beer. So Coors Light, Bud Light, any of those good guys. And then if you're going to do wine, I would go for a dry red wine because wine tends to be really, really sweet and sugar dense.
Okay.
And red wine actually has a lot of health benefits too. But women are only supposed to be consuming one alcoholic drink a day of these standard drinks. Okay. So, and then lastly, it's 1.5 ounces of distilled, so that's considered a shot. And one good tip for that is, do you use red Solo cups often?
Sometimes, yeah, when I do make mixed drinks.
Okay. So red Solo cups actually, like the ribbing on the sides, the very bottom ribbing is a measure for the shot, for the distilled spirits. So if you fill it up to there, and then you fill the rest up with cranberry or whatever you choose to fill it up with, that's how you can kind of know, okay, this is technically 1 drink that I'm having instead of, the 3 shots that might be in a cup at a time.
So is like cranberry a good option, or is it sugary? Or
Cranberry has a lot of sugar. Okay. Often bars will use cranberry cocktail as well, which is a lot less cranberry and a lot more sugar. So there are other options besides that. So instead of cranberry, you could do like a diet soda. Any diet sodas mixed with your vodka. Or you could do like a vodka with like a carbonated water, and then use Crystal Light packets to give it some flavor. You could even bring those packets with you to the bar. So just ask for a vodka water and then top it off with some flavor. And that would save you a lot of calories probably in the long run. But when you are, like before you're going out, you said you usually have like 2 drinks in 2 hours, maybe 1 hour roughly. So what usually are those drinks when you do that?
It's usually a vodka and Sprite.
Do you ever have like the pre-prepared drinks, like what are those called, like Reds?
I have had Four Locos. I stopped drinking those. I do like the Reds wicked.
So those are really good because they give you the ounces on them, so you can pay attention. Like, okay, this is a 16-ounce drink. That's more than just one standard drink. But some alternatives for those, if you were to ever crave one or pick one up at the gas station or whatever, those are really sugar dense. So some good alternatives would be like Trulies or White Claws, and those are really good because they're already 12 ounces, so that's one standard drink. So it'll be easier for you to kind of keep track of, okay, I've had 7 of these in one night. That's a lot of alcohol. Maybe I should have something else. So let's kind of review what we've gone over, because we've gone over a lot. So with the vegetable and fruit intake, we talked about some options for what you're going to do with your diet. So why don't you kind of recap to me what we talked about a little bit.
Kind of doing like the half plate thing. I think that'll help a lot, considering I don't.
Portion control and all that. Okay.
And then if I do have pizza, I can just put some broccoli or spinach on it. That would be great. I think I would do that. Waking up in the morning and eating fruit definitely is going to be a change.
So it sounds like you have some good options for getting those back into your diet a little bit. Okay, great. So then why don't we talk about fast food a little bit? What are some healthy alternatives that we discussed?
So, and my whole thing with this too is like I'm not cutting it out, like you said. It's just making slow changes, which I think will help a lot.
And
in the long
eventually,
run.
if you feel comfortable enough cutting it out of your diet, or like you just don't really want to eat it anymore, that's totally fine. But
maybe not like doing a meal, just doing a sandwich, and then maybe getting a diet option. That'd be good. The Jimmy John's, maybe save half. I know portion is kind of a rough thing for me because when I see a whole sandwich, I just
you want to eat the whole sandwich, right?
So I'll start doing that. That's
okay.
And the Papa John's,
there's not much you can do with takeout pizza. So
just putting the vegetables, making sure I get the vegetables with that too.
Pretty much from that conversation, what I just want to remind you of is that, you're human. No one's ever expecting you to not want queso or, all these healthy foods. We're human. We can have non-negotiable foods in our diet. That's totally normal. But just, recognizing that, okay, I really wanted to not eat that quarter pounder meal today, but I did.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty about it. Just wake up the next day and be like, if I'm craving McDonald's again, I won't get the fries. I'll get a Diet Sprite. Just don't be hard on yourself, because then a lot of times what people do is just give up. They're just like, I failed, I'm done. So just make sure you know that, like, you're human. These are just starting places.
Right.
Okay. So how about the exercise? Are you thinking that the 3 times a week, 4 times a week thing will be manageable?
Yeah, I think that would probably be the better option for me as well.
Okay.
It just works out with my schedule.
Okay. So we're kind of backtracking here a little bit, but when do you usually work out? Just like in between classes?
I usually work out after work, Monday, Wednesdays, and then Tuesday, Thursdays I work out in the morning.
Okay.
Fridays.
Okay. So when, just visualizing in your head right now, when are those days you're thinking of, cutting out the workout that day?
I think Monday and Wednesday I could give myself a day off.
Okay.
Just because I'm so jam-packed with class and work.
Okay. Okay. And then you could take that extra time to extend your workout on the other days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we start with that then? Okay, so I don't really think we discussed any, like, barriers to any of these things. Can you think of anything that's just going to, like, stop you right away from being able to make these small changes?
I think the only thing would be the how much fruit and vegetables cost.
Yeah.
But I think once I stop spending so much food on going out and eating, I can have more money for.
Right. It'll all kind of even itself out. Okay. Sounds good. And we can go into that too in your next session if you try all this and then find out that, it's a lot harder than you think it is to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Deal with the money side of it.
Yeah.
We can go over that and kind of plan it a little bit more in depth. But again, this is just a starting place. I think that, can you think of any other barriers to it?
No, I think just the money and the scheduling.
Okay.
I think that'll just take time getting used to everything, but I think it's a doable way.
Okay. Sounds good. So, do you have any final questions for me? I know we went over a lot today.
Right.
Do you feel overwhelmed at all, or like you need me to re-explain what our conversations were about? Anything?
No, I think it's pretty all simple to wrap my head around. Just gotta start doing it.
Good. Yeah, sounds good. And remember, don't be hard on yourself. Just get up the next day and try and do what we talked about the next day. It's totally normal to have setbacks. So I think we're gonna be meeting again, say in like a month. That give you enough time to kind of try out these things? Okay, awesome. So we'll schedule that when we're done here.
Okay.
And I just want to thank you for helping me with this. This was great.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, you have a lovely rest of your week.
Thank you.
All right.